Welcome to Daytime Ottawa here on this Monday. Hope you had a fantastic weekend. A little bit on the chilly side, but hope you got out there and to do some activities. A portion of the canal opened, so that was, of course, incredibly exciting. Have a great show ahead. We're going to be talking a little theater on the show, talking about if you're looking for a new job or staying in a new job. Angela Champ is back on the show. Also going to be doing a little bit of wine tasting with a couple of friends. Paul and David are on the show today, but I kick off here in the kitchen with Lily Bond. She is the founder of Spice Girls Seasonings. Welcome. Great to have you here.
Great to see you again, Derek. I'm very happy to be here.
Well, and I'm going to start off by saying a big thank you to Lily because I sent her notes in a panic over the weekend saying, confirming first that she's coming, and she moved some things around so she could come on the show. And then I followed that up by saying, and by the way, I had a double cancellation. Could you do a couple of segments on the show today? And you said,
of course.
Well, yeah.
Anything for you.
Come on. We're going to talk about sort of the beginnings of your business because it's an incredible story, one of the most amazing success stories this city has seen. I'm telling you, it's true. God. You know, I believe that honestly. But we're going to be preparing a couple of things in the kitchen here, right?
We're going to be making some snacks. It's kind of Super Bowl themed, winter comfort, almost party meals.
I like it.
We've got two things going on. We've got our Mexican layer dip and we've got our jalapeno poppers.
Okay, what do you want to start with here?
We'll start with the layer dip.
Okay, let's do it.
It's fun.
Yeah.
So, layer dip, we're going to start here with refried beans. Everyone loves these. This is kind of our first layer. I'm just going to be spreading this on pretty evenly.
While you're doing that, let's talk about 2024. You sent along some exciting news. So first of all, we know that you're in Farm Boys across the province.
Across the province, because last time I think I was just across Ottawa.
Yeah.
Now we're like St. Catharines,
exploded.
Toronto, we're everywhere.
I love it. Congratulations on that.
Thank you. Yeah.
But you're also working and negotiating with some other chains. Is that right?
Some other chains. I can't disclose it yet.
No, of course
I was thinking,
not.
I'm like, could I say? I'm like, no. I might get in trouble. But
you've signed NDA agreements.
Yes,
you cannot say anything.
But next time I come on, I'll tell you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But we can tease that. Like there's big news coming.
Big things coming, people.
All right. Okay.
So our next layer is our sour cream and mayo mixture with 2 tablespoons here of Spice Girls taco seasoning. You've actually tried this dip before.
This is so good.
The first time I came on, so you can even just have this on its own. But this is our sour cream and mayo layer on the layer dip.
Nice.
Spread that on. Next is our salsa. Now, pro tip for people at home, what I like to do with my salsa here is I drain it through a sieve.
Oh, that's
so it's not too watery. You don't want a watery dip.
Well, especially with a layered one like this too, right? You don't want to liquefy the whole thing. That's a great idea.
So this is kind of just going to spread this out. Perfect.
Oh, the big game just around the corner.
I know.
And not only the big game itself that's coming up. You've got this coming weekend actually, right? You've got the AFC playoff championship. You got the NFC playoff championship. So here, get started with something like this, right?
Yeah, and of course a little shredded cheese on top.
Gotta have the fromage.
Trying to spread this out as evenly as I can. And then I personally love green onions. I love jalapenos. I didn't bring any extra jalapenos. Usually I put some jalapenos on this too.
But we are using jalapenos.
We are using jalapenos
so we'll get to that too.
So look at that. Perfect.
Beautiful.
Just a lovely touch of green. Perfect.
Exactly.
Voila.
Voila.
That's so easy.
That took us how long?
Like 5 minutes. Like, no, sorry.
No,
20
less
seconds.
than that. Like
20 seconds.
Well, I think a little more than 20 seconds. But of course, you're mixing up. So let's talk about. So you started with what spice again?
The taco seasoning, which we use in this dip here. You put it on your chicken. You put it on in your dips. My mom even puts it in like a tortilla soup sometimes. Like it's chili.
I like how you said it with that face. Sometimes when she's nuts, she tries it with this tortilla soup. You've got me chopping some jalapeno.
Yes, we're going to be
Thanks for that, by the way.
I know. Just don't rub your eyes.
I know. I got to stay with that.
So you're going to just slice the jalapeno in half.
All right. Cut off the.
If you want, sometimes I even leave the stem on.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
okay.
I know. Just gives you a little perfect.
And then we got to scoop this out.
Yeah, so I actually made these for dinner last night, and we didn't fully scoop out the seeds, so we were sweating.
They were a little hot? Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Perfect, you got it.
Because that's where all the heat is.
Is in the membrane and in the seeds.
Okay.
So I sometimes leave a little, but depending on your spice level, you got that. Look at you.
Look at that.
Oh my God.
Well, listen, you've taught me some skills. I got some of the best chefs in the city that come on this show. You know that.
That's amazing. No, you've learned some stuff.
Just don't let it flick up into close to your face.
Absolutely
whatsoever.
So
so what else are we doing with these?
Okay, so those look great. Now you have a little bit of softened cream cheese that we're going to be filling inside these jalapeno poppers.
All right, I'll leave a little spice in that one.
Just take a little there.
Okay.
Doesn't have to be too much, just filling it in enough.
All right.
Yeah, that's perfect. It's amazing.
Perfect.
Just like that, Derek.
Okay. You're a good teacher.
Oh, I try. I've been taught well, so that's it.
Here we
Awesome.
go. So I understand too, you're growing obviously as a business. You've got a new hire. Tell me about your new hire.
Melissa, my marketing coordinator, who's probably watching right now. She lives in Toronto, and she's been fantastic. Like, works super hard. She's super passionate about the business.
Nice.
Yeah, just helping us.
So how many full-time staff do you have now?
So, well, me, Melissa, and then I also have a lot of people on contract as well. So we're going to be moving some people to full-time for packaging because we're getting more orders.
Oh no.
Yeah, I know. So we're getting a lot of orders. So we're going to have to bring on some more full-time staff. But it's good. We're growing.
Nice.
Yeah.
Congratulations on that. All right.
So next is barbecue rub. So we're going to be smoking habanero barbecue rub. We're going to be sprinkling.
Can I open this?
Yeah, open it.
Well,
yeah.
I don't know.
Oh,
yeah, you might. Oh, here.
Open it?
Let me do the.
Yeah. There you go.
Let me do the easier way here.
You got it.
Okay.
Perfect.
Smoking habanero.
I know, it's a little sweet, little smoky, little salty. Yeah, you just sprinkle it on as much as you want. Yeah, that's perfect.
All right.
Yeah, it just gives it a nice little kick if the jalapeno's not enough.
But this is as you said, this is sweet and spicy. I have this at home as well. Actually, I think I have every single one that you sell now, except for the hot chocolate.
The hot chocolate.
That
I'll
I
bring
have
you
to
the
get.
hot chocolate
No,
next time.
I'll buy the hot chocolate. Never mind bring. And what makes it different?
The hot chocolate?
Yeah, what have you done to it?
So
what is the magic Lily Bond has done with the hot chocolate?
So there's a little cinnamon, little cloves, and a pinch of cayenne, but it's not spicy. It's like almost like a Mexican hot chocolate. And what I like about it as well is it's not overly sweet. It's a very like rich, dark chocolate. There's a little sweetness, so the whole family loves it. But it's it's a good quality hot chocolate.
I love it. Okay,
yeah,
a little bit of cheese on these.
A little bit of cheese on top.
Let me move these over here.
Perfect.
Add a little cheese. Okay.
Yeah. Perfect.
Well, that one wasn't perfect, but I appreciate your enthusiasm.
No, they look great just as long as they taste good.
That's true.
For me, that's all that matters. Is it's.
And we've got a couple prepared here. You just threw it. Okay, this is what happens behind the scenes, folks. Okay, Lily and I are honest people. All right. So Lily assumed we had an oven. We have a stovetop, but not an oven.
In the oven.
So usually we tell guests, just bring the finished product. And I said, well, we do have a microwave. Try. And they taste fantastic, right?
For people at home, these are usually 18 to 20 minutes, 400-degree oven, but I realized we didn't have an oven, so these were actually 1.5 minutes in the microwave, and we tried one, and they taste great.
And they're fantastic, right?
So I guess these can be microwaved.
There you go. Now you know.
If you're really in a pinch.
Well, that's a good thing too, because you may have some extra people that show up to your get together, maybe to watch football, the Sens game, 67's game here on Rogers TV, and then you need some extra. Pop them in the oven, and you're ready to go. You're going to join us later on in the show.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
What are we going to discuss later in the show?
Well, we're going to be discussing more the ins and outs of the business, how we got here, my journey, and how mentorship, and how that's really been amazing for my business, and how I'm helping other people.
And I understand that we have your photo of like the first day that you were selling your product at a market. So not to surprise you, but it's coming. We'll be back with more right after this. Don't go anywhere.
This program is brought to you by Ignite TV. Now you're in command. Visit Rogers.com for more details.
Unbelievable. You just never see that. Oh, what a shot.
The OHL on Rogers TV.
Are you low on food? Struggling to pay the bills? Overwhelmed by life's challenges? When you need support but don't know where to turn, just dial 211. 211 connects you to the programs or services near you.
211, how can I help you?
211, help starts here.
20 bucks. 20 bucks. Hi guys, it's Maggie, Mrs. Calabash and Derek. And whoa, we're back. Rogers Television. So please watch us on Rogers Television. We've just done our first show. It was Anytime Shrimp Special and an Asian salad. So please remember, Rogers Television, Mrs. Calabash Cooks. I'll see you guys.
Join me, holistic chef Daniela Croco, for season 4 of Simply Cooking by Chef, right here on Rogers TV.
Welcome back to the show. Well, this actually couldn't have worked out any better. So we just talked some great food with Lily Bond from Spice Girls Seasonings, and the guy said, "Hey, Lily, can we steal your food because we're doing some wine tasting, and perhaps it might pair well with it." I'm joined by Paul Carrier and Dave Schellenberg from Paul's Picks. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Have you here.
Thank you.
Paul, it's been a while.
It's been a while.
David, you're on the show just a couple of months ago.
Oh, I'm
actually.
unemployed, so I have nothing else to do, so I might as well come on your show.
Paul, let's talk about your love of wine. Where did that come from?
Wow, that started about 30 years ago, actually. Went from a busboy to a bartender, then decided to get my sommelier certificate, my master's of bartending, got hooked up with the LCBO, became a product consultant with them for a little under 20 years, and took early retirement.
And where'd you hook up with this guy?
Well, it's a long story. We don't have time
we don't have time for that one.
Did you want to do a double segment with us?
Long story short, Dave came into the store. We had a wine tasting bar. Him and Catfish Morgan sat up to the bar. We started talking wines. Next thing you know, we started doing a segment, and we did that for 15 years together.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah. That was a lot of fun. So when you pick, like, what do you look for? What do you look for in a wine?
I look for quality price.
Okay.
Because I think most people, especially now, January is a little tight month. So I think the majority of people are looking for wines sort of under $20 that are tasting like $30 or $40 bottles. That's where we come in.
Nice. Right. Yeah, Dave, let's talk about, obviously you learned a great deal from Paul, over those 15 years. Did you know anything about wine before you sort of met up with Paul?
Well, because one of the things you start to realize is anybody can walk into the LCBO and buy a bottle. And you tend to buy a bottle because you know the label or because you know the name or something. And a lot of times it's overwhelming to actually go into the store and buy something. So when we started doing this segment, I didn't know much about wine. But what you learn quite quickly is what you hate.
Oh,
and
interesting.
As my journey through discovering wine started with drinking some and then realized I really don't like this. And then once I discovered that there is actually bad wines out there, and it's all just because your personal palate, right?
For
you
sure.
like some, Absolutely. But you'll go to somebody's house and they'll serve you a wine and a great flourish, and you'll take a sip and you go, and that's okay.
Yeah, for sure.
There's other wines out there.
We don't have to pretend to like them all.
No, right? Have another bottle and see if you like this one.
Try that one. You brought a couple of wines with you today, Paul. What are we tasting today?
First wine we're going to try is the Vina Tarapaca Sauvignon Blanc from Chile.
Okay.
So if you guys want to grab your glasses here.
Yeah. So walk us through. We're tasting wine. What do we do, fellas?
So first thing we're going to do is we're going to give it a little swirl.
Okay.
Get the aromas going there. Then we're going to nose the wine. So 2-3 little quick sniffs. Don't try to overanalyze it. Just whatever comes to your mind. Mm-hmm. Okay. So this wine here
very
is
subtle.
Very subtle, citrusy.
Yep.
Yes.
Nice and citrusy. Then we're going to taste it, of course.
Okay.
Of course. Finally. That took a while.
Dave likes to drink right away.
Yeah, the whole opening ramble thing you did, we could have been drinking.
You're like, let's just move on.
Yeah, we could discuss about how we know Paul while we're drinking.
But smooth. I said, sort of the scent was subtle.
Yep.
But smooth flavor, but a little bit of a bite at the end.
Nice
right?
acidity, I think, is what you're getting there, and that's what you want from a Sauvignon Blanc. So light to medium bodied, crisp acidity. and sort of a palate cleansing finish.
I get grapefruit.
Really?
Yeah.
I get that. I certainly get the
get-
citrus, but I couldn't necessarily narrow it down to something like
Well,
that.
that becomes part of the trick of the wine tasting. Is it orange? Is it lemon?
Yeah.
No, it's
I know.
more
I can see
grapefruit.
would this wine pair with anything in front of us here?
I'd like you guys to try the
dip?
The dip, yeah. Go
Okay.
for the dip.
Do we have to?
You have to.
Oh yeah, Dave's been dying to try.
Oh yeah.
I would love to
So
pair
this is-
this wine with something like baked salmon with just a light dill sauce on it. Would be fantastic. With the dip, I'm saying the dip's going to ignite the wine. You're going to get
Absolutely.
a lot more citrus, a lot more acidity. Yes? Dave's thinking.
I think the dip might have won.
The dip one?
The dip might have won. I mean, but that's comes part of the fun with pairings is,
Yep.
sometimes they're phenomenal. Sometimes the spice that's in
I
there.
think Dave's right. It cut away some of the acidity because of the taco seasoning spice.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah.
Isn't that wild?
I wasn't expecting that. Okay, let's talk about the red.
I think we have to have a couple more sips to know if it's really true
We'll
or
let
not.
Dave continue to drink.
All right.
Paul, you tell us what's the next one.
So the next one's from, by the way, this was $14.95 a bottle.
Oh, excellent. Okay.
The next one we're trying is the Pavillon Shiraz Cabernet Sauvignon from South Africa.
Okay.
Okay, so this wine here is...
Do a little swirl. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Peppery.
Peppery, prune dark chocolate as well.
Do you remember how Ottawa smelled when the forest fires were going over?
Smokiness for sure in there. Yeah.
This smells like, the Golden Triangle in a smoky day.
Medium body, good tannin, good acidity, well balanced, real food friendly style of wine. When I'm trying a wine like this, I'm thinking, because there's so much football and hockey and stuff like that, homemade chili.
Oh, for sure.
Homemade chili.
100%.
Homemade chili.
But
Weird
now I
how-
want you guys to try the dip with this.
Okay.
But first of all, weird how smoky it is to smell, but when you taste it,
not to taste.
No, there's no
Yeah.
smoke
Yeah.
in the taste at all.
Oh, dear.
And
Live TV,
Man
what
down.
can go wrong?
Man down.
And this, by the way, too, $13.95 a bottle.
$13.95.
So, yeah.
Very reasonable.
we've all spent way more than that on way worse bottles.
What I like with both these wines is if you're having people over and you're having pizzas and snack foods and all, these are two fun wines that you can kind of interplay with all kinds of different things, and you're going to find different combinations that are working fantastic.
Agreed.
And goes with everything.
Yeah, it goes really well with the
Good.
dip. Same thing.
The red went better with the dip than the white.
Yeah.
It's spicier. There's a lingering
Yeah, I
heat.
agree.
Do you have a lingering heat now that sort of wasn't there before?
Yeah, very, very nice.
I was thinking 2 stuffed peppers would be another.
Well, yeah, these jalapeno peppers I think would go really well with the. Paul, if people want to see some of your latest picks, what's the best place to go?
Dave?
paulspicks.ca. There's a couple of segments coming up. Pairing wine with nachos is actually one we've already recorded, so that'll
Nice.
appear soon. And we discovered a great Ontario red. You'd swear it was a classic Spanish red.
Wonderful.
An $80 one, but it's from Ontario, and that'll be on paulspicks.ca.
Looking forward to that.
shortly.
paulspicks.ca. We'll be back with more right after this.
This is a perfectly healthy child. What's unhealthy are birth alerts, a racist practice that may stop this Indigenous mother from going home with her newborn. Become an ally. Rise above racism in healthcare.
Heartbeat of Mother Earth, I feel you and embrace your warmth. I see you dancing through the trees. Your song floats on the summer breeze. Community, we come together. We are the voice of our ancestors. Thankful for how much you bless us. Feel the thunder in the drum. All our voices sing as one. Feel the power, feel the pride. Feel the drumbeat deep inside. Feel the boom, feel the bass. Let's let go of time and space. It'll make you dance, it'll make you sing. Ode Wegun, Wedok Wishin. The drum will lead you, take you far. Always remember who you are.
Learn all about the creation of the National Capital Region on The History of Ottawa, according to Phil Jenkins, on Rogers TV.
Public transit, garbage pickup, parks and recreation programs, snow removal on your street. How can you stay informed about these and other important local services? Tune to City Council coverage on Rogers TV. See your community leaders at work on Rogers TV City Council coverage.
Welcome back to the show. If you know me well, you know I love the theater. I grew up doing theater. There's so many benefits to it. We have so many opportunities here in the city of Ottawa to see great theater, and that includes the U of Ottawa Theater Club. They just kicked off their theater club last year in March of 2023. Their brand new production is coming up very shortly. Actually starts January 25th, this week. It is Little Women. I am joined by Anna Gray and Andrew Lemieux from the cast. Welcome to you both. Great to have you here.
Thank you for having us.
I'll start with you, Andrew. Tell us a little bit the idea behind putting this group together.
Yeah, so basically what it was March 2023. There were a really large number of theater enthusiasts at the University of Ottawa, and they kind of came together to start this theater club that was more all-inclusive to everyone in the theater space. The execs worked a lot behind the scenes until September, when the theater club really got off the ground, and we did our first two productions, The Great Gatsby and Heather's the Musical, and now this is our third. So, yeah.
Anna, was this sort of something that you grew up doing theater? When you came to the University of Ottawa, you didn't see an opportunity for you there?
Yeah, so I grew up doing theater, I think from the time I was in like grade 8 or so.
Okay.
I just love being on the stage. It's so fun, you know? Everybody's looking at you.
Yeah.
And I felt like just not having a theater club at a university especially is just like a hole, or a gap, because having a club provides an opportunity for people who maybe aren't going to be professionals to still have fun and engage, and I feel like that's me. I'm not in like a theater program, but I still love the theater and would love to be in it. And so,
well, I was shocked actually when I read that you just began it last year. I would have assumed there'd been a club at the university for years now.
Yeah, no, they've definitely put a lot of work into building this club up. It's become a very big thing very quickly, thanks to our large community and exec members. So,
Well, let's talk about this latest production, Anna, Little Women. I mean, everybody should know this story, but if they don't, tell us about the story.
Little Women is about a small family that has 4 sisters. I'm one of them. I'm Jo March, the second oldest, I believe. And a lot of it is just about the themes behind family and growing up and how relationships change. One huge part of the story is how they become friends with their neighbor, Lori, and how that connection kind of builds and grows and changes.
Okay. You're going to do a scene for us here on the show today. Andrew, can you set up the scene here?
Yeah, absolutely. So this scene sort of takes place after the families kind of become acquainted with the Lawrences a little more. And Jo and Lori, my character, kind of start to have this closer bonded friendship. So,
All right, I'll step aside. Take it away. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Ready?
Ready. Now I'll find out what you've been up to with all your scribblings lately.
Return it now, Mr. Lawrence, or never speak to me again.
No. All right. Just like a girl. First you say we're not going to have any secrets, and now this.
This is different.
It's still a secret.
No.
Well, it's fine. You can keep it. Because I've got one too.
Oh, Bilgewater.
And it's plummy.
Very.
Very.
Fine. If that's the game you want to play, you tell me yours, and I'll tell you mine. Read it yourself.
Pay to the order of Miss Josephine March $1 for her story entitled The Phantom Hand.
Oh, go on, laugh, but that's just the start. Someday I'll get as high as 10.
I swear, I'll never understand you, Jo March, cooped up in that attic every spare minute, writing away, missing out on all the fun we could be having, and for what? A measly $1, Jo. If it's money you want, I've got plenty of it.
It's not the money. Not really. It's this strange, nervous feeling I get. This is my story, and someday people will read it in print, something that I wrote.
Well, I don't understand it.
Fine, play fair, Teddy. What's your secret?
I know where Meg's missing glove is.
Is that all?
Ask me where it is.
Where is it?
Brooke has it.
How do you know?
Saw it.
Where?
His pocket. He found it the night after they danced together at grandfather's party. Isn't it romantic?
No, it's rubbish.
I thought you'd be pleased.
Pleased? At the thought of someone taking Meg away? Why must things always change just when they seem perfect? Meg used to share everything with me, and now she thinks that John is a lovely name and that brown eyes are beautiful. I think it's sickly, sentimental, romantic rubbish, and he better not try and break our family up.
Well, you'll feel differently when someone comes to take you away.
I'd like to see someone try it.
Oh, nice! Well done. That was
Thank
great.
you.
Do you relate to these characters at all? I'll start with you, Anna.
I feel like I do,
Okay.
definitely. Jo's whole thing is that she's not really ready to be a lady and to grow up. And I feel like when I was a kid, I was like definitely a tomboy and not ready to kind of grow up and be an adult. And so it's been kind of fun slipping back into that. And yeah, just kind of going back to that and remembering what it feels like to be a kid and just want to have fun and stay with your sisters at that time in your life. Because I feel like
Nice.
growing up can be kind of scary.
Yeah. Well, my family and friends would probably tell you I'm still a kid, and this is probably the best job for someone that feels like they're.
You get to
they're
play
still,
around, do a lot of different
exactly.
things. Yeah.
Andrew, how about you? Did you relate at all to?
Yeah, I would say there were definitely certain elements of Theodore Lawrence's character that I really did resonate with. He's a very social character from what I've found through my exploration of him. Yeah, and he's been very quick at making friends with the Marches, and I've always found that I'm a pretty social person, so that's one thing I very much resonate with.
Tell me a little bit more about the cast and crew. Like how many are involved in this particular production?
Ooh.
22 in cast,
Wow.
I believe. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a pretty large
It's
cast.
a larger cast. Yes.
Yeah, I believe there were 2 options for us, and we chose the larger cast
Yes.
for the play so that we could have the most
So this is the
people
third
involved.
production that
Yes.
you're putting on. What's coming up? Do you have some others in line?
There are
Yeah.
2, I believe.
So there's 2 more ones that we're working on right now. We've actually just finished up casting for A Midsummer Night's Dream, which I will be helping assistant direct with the director
Nice.
Kenzie Barrera, which is super exciting, as well as Les Belles Sœurs, which is going up in March. So yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Tickets are on sale right now,
Yes.
right? What's the best place to go?
That would be the U Ottawa Theatre Club website, as well as their Instagram page will lead you right there.
Wonderful. Well, congratulations. I mean, as I said, I was so shocked to see that there's not a theater club. So I'm so glad you and everybody else involved has found something where you can get together, because there's nothing better than putting on a production and the quick relationships that you form.
Yeah.
You're going to remember them for the rest of your life. I really appreciate your
Absolutely.
time today. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having us.
January 25th and 26th at 7 p.m. And then there's 2 shows, the 27th and 28th, 2 p.m. and 7 p.m. I'll remind you at the end of the show, and we'll bring up that website again. We'll be back with more right after this. Great job. Thank you so much. That was awesome. Thank you, Andrew.
It's closing time, and you stayed out longer than you planned. So now you can't drive, and the buses have stopped running. You could always call your girlfriend. Or maybe your roommate? What about your best friend? You could just dial 1-888-TAXI-GUY or use the Taxi Guy app. The call and the app are free, and they both connect you to a local cab company to bring you home safely. Visit arrivealive.org to find out more. Arrive Alive, drive sober.
Hi, I'm Sam LaPrade. I'm hoping I inspire you to watch An Hour to Give. This week we're featuring the Association of Fundraising Professionals. Maybe you're looking for a career change. Check us out. I'm Sam LaPrade. Watch An Hour to Give.
You're watching an interesting local show on Rogers TV and you want to know more. That's when you head to rogerstv.com. Our website provides more information about our programs, our hosts, our schedule, and about how you too can get involved with Rogers TV. Visit us online at rogerstv.com. With Rogers TV, you can cheer on the home team from the comfort of your living room. We'll head to the rink, the field, the court, or the pitch, so you don't have to. Tune in and cheer on your local amateur athletes on Rogers TV.
Welcome back to the show. Perhaps one of your New Year's resolutions was, you know what, I want to find a new job. I want to do something different. Or you might find yourself in a position where you're looking for a new job, but maybe you want to stay. There's a lot of different things to think about. My next guest has some great advice to share. I'm joined by Angela Chem. She's a career expert and author of The Squiggly Line Career. Welcome back, Angela. Great to have you here.
Thanks,
how do you know when it's time to either leave or stay at a new job? I mean, that's probably the best way for us to start the conversation.
It can be a tough decision because there's comfort in staying where you are. Sometimes you have an itch to try something new. So I usually say, ask yourself 3 questions. Are you still learning? Are you building on your technical skills? Are you building leadership or teamwork skills? Are you building critical thinking skills? Are you still adding value? So does the work that you do matter to your team? Does it matter to your boss? Does it matter to anybody? Are you contributing to what's happening in your company? And the third thing I say is, are you having fun? Do you like what you're doing? Now, no job is fun all the time, but if you're having fun more often than not, then you're in a pretty good place to start.
Yeah, and do you think that's kind of a, I don't know. I find, in a traditional sense, many people probably think, oh, well, my grandfather, my father, fun never was a concept that they ever discussed with me. Do you think we're starting to think about that more, sort of new generations as we move along, that's a really important piece about our work?
Yeah, I mean, it depends on how you define fun, too, right? I mean, it's not always turning cartwheels. Fun could be, are you having a laugh with your coworkers? Does something make you smile during the day? Do you actually like the people that you work with? And that's a big deal about that. So how do you define fun? And are you having that in your day-to-day? You're right. My parents, your parents, my grandparents, they were not having fun. Particularly my grandparents out in the fields. They were just picking their the produce, and they're not having fun.
Right. I know my dad did for sure. My dad, was an accountant, but he had fun because he was passionate about it, and he loved working with his clients. So as you said, just finding the bit of fun doesn't necessarily have to be, oh my God, the job's fun all the time, like my job. Let's go back to those 3 questions. Let's say you answer yes to all 3 of those questions you just talked about. What does that mean for you?
If you answered yes, you're still learning, you're still adding value, and you're still having fun, there's probably life in that job left. You might be having the itch to go, and it doesn't hurt to look elsewhere, but there's probably still room for you to grow and make a career out of it. If you're saying no to all 3, it might be time to find a new job. If you're saying no to just one of them, then there's things you can do to tweak your job that might make it a little bit better, rather than having to find a new job altogether.
So what are those tweaks? I guess it's different for each individual, but are there some common things that you can do?
Sure. Let's say, for example, that you feel like you're not learning anything new. You've been in a job for a long time, and you feel like for that role, you've done as much as you can. Can you take another role within that company? Can you go to your boss and put your hand up to lead a project or lead a new committee? Can you do what's called job enlargement? Can you take on new responsibilities? Can you start mentoring somebody or onboarding new people? So what can you do to change your job without having to leave it entirely? Those are the tweaks that you can do. If the other parts of it are a yes, maybe you don't want to leave just yet.
How careful do you have to be? I think that comes up in a lot of people's minds. They're like, okay, I want to change jobs, but I need to get that job first before right? I let this one know that I'm searching. How careful do you have to be, or do you have to be careful at all?
The reality is not everybody can just quit their job, right? Some people, lots of Canadians are living paycheck to paycheck, or they don't have enough in an emergency fund, or maybe they live in a place where there aren't a lot of extra jobs of the kind that you want to have. So yes, maybe you don't want to quit your job before you have something lined up. That's the reality. And so in that case, I would say make sure your resume is up to date, make sure you're networking, make sure you're keeping your skills up to date, and look that way rather than quitting. I have an example of a person that I worked with who in a company a few years ago, and he said, just announced, I'm going to quit. but didn't give a date or anything. He just said, I'm tired of this job and I'm going to quit. And what happened was the bosses took him seriously and they started leaving him out of meetings, of important decisions. They didn't assign him the interesting projects. Of course, he got more and more miserable because now the job is shrinking.
Yeah.
And he really became miserable. He ended up quitting without a job, but it was because he had announced it sort of openly, like, I'm just going to quit, without having a plan to go to.
Yeah, and I guess you need to be careful on the opposite side of that. Let's say you're quitting and you haven't said anything to your employer right away. And you start looking, I don't know, some people I find, they try to hide it from their employer. But of course, if you're looking for work, you may need references to the employer you have now. Like, do you have to be careful in that sense as well at all?
That's really a difficult one because a lot of new employers will want to have a reference. So can you give a boss from a couple of jobs ago? Can you give a peer? Can you give somebody you worked on a committee with if you don't want to give your employers? Or sometimes you can say, I'm not ready to let my employer know that I'm looking for a job, so I'd rather not give somebody that I'm actively working with. A good employer, new employer, will respect that and ask for a reference after they've given you a job offer in order to protect your privacy that way.
Let's talk about those final 2 weeks. You found the new job. You've decided to leave the old job. Some people kind of treat it as a bit of a vacation. They're chatting with all their coworkers all the time. Is there a danger in that? And do you have to take that into consideration?
I always tell people who are looking to leave their jobs 2 pieces of advice. When you give your 2 weeks or 4 weeks notice, make sure that you're doing your absolute best work right up until the last hour, not even your last day, your last hour. Because it doesn't matter how good you were in the last 2 years, the last 5 years that you worked at that company, they're only going to remember the last 2 weeks. And if you were, I'm doing air quotes, slacking off, that's what they're going to remember about you. And the second piece of advice I give to people if you're quitting is don't burn your bridges. I had somebody I worked in a company with who quit in a very spectacular fashion, like something you would see in a viral video. And then what happened? They went and joined a competitor, and then what happened? We acquired that company.
Wow.
Yeah, so you want to make sure you're not burning your bridges because the world is small, and you want to make sure that you're staying in touch with people.
I want to tell everybody at home, this is a great book, The Squiggly Line Career. It really talks about everything we've just discussed right now and much, much more. So if you're looking at changing your career or even staying in a job, you can pick it up where all books are sold. We'll be back with more right after this. Don't go anywhere.
This is a brain in urgent need of mental health care. But because 3 out of every 4 Indigenous people experience racism in healthcare, she may not get the help she needs. Become an ally. Rise above racism in healthcare.
Treaty in Cree is Naskomitoin, an oral agreement. And our agreements were always spoken. For George Spence, the core of treaty was Wichihioin, to help one another.
And so we, the commissioners...
He was there for the making of Treaty 9, where the Cree were told...
We will honor this agreement together, for as long as the sun shines and the waters flow.
The Cree made their mark because they were assured that the land would be shared, and they would always be able to harvest what they needed. George Spence was my great-grandfather. In his life, he saw many promises of the treaty go unfulfilled.
Treaties were essential to the creation of Canada. First Nations still fight for the agreements to be honored.
Join us for the new season of Ottawa Storytellers, right here on Rogers TV. Welcome back to the show. I said it off the top. It is one of the most incredible success stories that's ever come out of the city of Ottawa. Lily Bond joining me again. She's the founder of Spice Girls Seasonings, and we wanted to share your story because, you know, you've talked about it on the show before, but the growth has been incredible, Lily. Let's talk about how this all started. Take us way back to when you were 13 years old.
Yeah.
What are you now, 19?
I'm 20 now.
20 now, okay.
Oh, it's been a long time I've been at this.
No kidding.
I'm a seasoned professional.
You are. So you're 13 years old. Where was the inspiration for
Sure.
this?
So I decided I wanted to start a business. That was kind of the main thing. I was being raised by a single mom, and I needed a computer for school, but I couldn't legally get a job. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to create my own job by starting a business. And
is this your first?
That's
is
my
this you
very
at
first
13?
sale. That was just selling taco seasoning. I wanted a better version of the old El Paso taco seasoning you find in the grocery stores, and the perfect way to bring it to market was a local farmer's market.
Nice.
So that was a little vineyard actually down the street from my house.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
I
so
think I might have
cool.
actually sold out my first day too. Everyone was so supportive, and that was how I got my start.
That is incredible.
Yeah.
And you know, along the way, you've met many mentors. I know your first mentor is your mom.
My mom.
So
Yeah.
tell me about your relationship with your mom, and you know, when you approached her about this idea, how did the two of you work together?
Well, we've always been really into food and into cooking. Like, we're huge food nerds. And when we're thinking, okay, well, what are you going to start? We were actually between, well, there's spices. We actually thought ketchup was an idea too, because we were tired of the Heinz ketchup, and we thought, well, the spices, you know, are also really intimidating for people. People don't know how to properly use them, and the blends that were in stores, we didn't like them. They were way too salty. We decided, you know, we do Taco Tuesdays all the time. We thought this is the perfect business idea. So that was how I started it, and Spice Girls was just great name, and that's kind of how it started. And she's continues to be my advisor. She's my best friend.
Yeah.
She's been an entrepreneur herself my whole life, so I've really just learned by watching her, and that's the best way you can learn, honestly.
Any other mentors along the way?
Yeah, so recently I've got a great mentor. His name is Jim White. He lives out in Napa Valley. He actually created the President's Choice brand.
What?
Yeah.
Really?
Way back in the day.
How did you connect with him?
So he was a friend of my lawyer.
Okay.
Yeah, so my lawyer introduced me to Jim and said that he's incredible, one of the most interesting guys I know. And I started talking to Jim, and we get along great. And he has such a wealth of, he is one of the most interesting people I know. He's a wealth of knowledge, especially when it comes to marketing and branding and how I'm going to be presenting myself and growing my business. And he has a lot of connections in the States for grocery stores as well. So he's great. So he's been very helpful. And I have another mentor through the University of Ottawa, actually, through a startup program I'm in there. Candace, and she's been very helpful as well, just about how I'm going to grow my business. And she has a food business herself, so it's been fantastic.
And you're the student entrepreneur in residence, right?
Now I am, yes. So I've been going through their startup accelerator program. So they provided me with mentorship, programming, a little bit of money, and that's been great. And they just recently asked me to be their student entrepreneur in residence for one of their earlier stage programs.
Nice.
For people that just have an idea.
So you get to be somebody else's mentor,
know, which is crazy because I'm young. Right, but it's great. And I love talking to people that just have an idea, because that's where really all the magic happens, when you're in that early stage. And I love seeing people who are just figuring it out and what am I going to do, because that's really where all you're discovering your passion, and that's the beautiful place to be in your business.
Did you come up with the logo, which I love, by the way, did you work with somebody on the logo? How did that come to be?
So it was kind of a collaboration of many different graphic designers. So I contracted a graphic designer to do the caricature of me, and then I actually got a friend of mine, so being scrappy, to help me design the rest of it. My friend Mark, who is he's got a knack for graphic design. So it's been kind of a work in progress. And then now we actually just contracted an agency to help us kind of revamp our brand even more. So keeping the main logo, but just updating our website. So it's great to be at that point in my business now where I can actually get some more people to help me with it.
Because you're going to launch a new website, right?
New website, yeah, new website, a little bit updated brand. So that's coming in the next few weeks. So stay tuned, people.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So you're in school.
Yeah.
You run a business.
Yeah.
You've got a social life. You've got a wonderful family. You've got mentors. How do you balance all of those things?
It's a challenge.
Yeah.
I'll be very honest with you. It's definitely taught me a lesson in time management that I'm still figuring out. But a lot of people do it. They run businesses and go to school. I mean, my grandfather, like way back in the day, he went to school at night and worked full time. So it has been done, and I know a lot of entrepreneurs that do the same. Although I will say, like, as my business is growing, you know, school does kind of take a bit of a back burner, but I still am learning a lot from my education, and having the startup garage as well through the University of Ottawa has been very helpful.
Right.
So, you know, it's an experience I'm glad to have, and I'm just learning how to manage it all.
And you just told me during the break, now you're going to the gym,
I'm
right?
going to the
so
gym.
you're yeah, but that's a smart thing, right? Because I think when we get into business or a career of any kind, sometimes that gets set aside. Our health gets set aside.
Yeah.
Was that sort of an epiphany for you of some kind?
It was kind of just to kind of get myself in the right, because entrepreneurship is a sport. It's an Olympic sport, right? You need to be healthy in your mind, healthy in your body in order for you to be able to perform at your best. Advice to any entrepreneur, like, you have to take care of yourself if you want to be, you know, maximizing your own performance in your business. So I think it's just good for my mental clarity.
Good
I have
for you.
ADHD as well, if you can't tell.
You and me both. That's why this is the perfect job for me.
Exactly.
Right?
So it helps me with that as well. So that's why I'm happy to do that.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I remember last time you and I talked, you're saying revenue last year was like $500,000, and you're expecting to double it this year. Is that right?
We're on track. We're on track.
Amazing. No, but I mean that. I mean this sincerely. That's an incredible success story in such a short period of time. Obviously, you owe it to this amazing energy that you have. And I'll tell you about. You mentioned ADHD. I'll tell you what a doctor told me many, many years ago on this show.
Yeah.
When you're young, a lot of people try to find ways to correct it. Okay.
Yeah.
They try to find perhaps medication. And you know what? Some people need it. I'm not saying. But it just was an epiphany for me. Some try to find or get people counseling and so forth. And then when you get older, you know what people say to you?
What?
Where do you get your energy?
Oh my gosh.
Oh my God, what's your secret?
But teachers, when you're younger,
Right?
complain about it.
I
Right?
know.
And that she needs, your behavior is not acceptable, but when you're older, it pushes you forward to celebrate you for it.
And you're, hats off to your mom, who's
Hats off to her big time.
but she found something for you, right? And I think that's so important. My parents found me theater, and they found me sports, and that was a game changer for me.
Yeah.
Congratulations again,
Thank you.
all your success. SpiceGirls.com, Spice with a Y, Girls with a Z. You can get all of the wonderful seasonings, and they've got exciting things coming up too. So make sure you follow this young lady on social media. We'll be back with more right after this.
After a night out with your friends, there's always options for getting home safely. You could call your BFF, your mom or dad, whoever you can count on for a safe ride home. You could call your favorite cab company or 1-888 taxi guy. Or you could use the Arrive Alive smartphone app to help you choose your ride. Be it a friend, transit, or taxi, getting home safely is app easy. Now available for iOS and Android devices. Visit arrivealive.org to find out more. Arrive Alive. Drive sober.
Watch Podium exclusively on Rogers TV.
On Rogers TV.
I still remember the games. The laughter, the footsteps through the hallway. I'll never forget the challenges.
Every day I come back from work, it's always like this. We're yelling in front of the kids.
I'll never forget the help we needed. How far we've come.
Join me, holistic chef Daniela Croco, for season 4 of Simply Cooking by Chef, right here on Rogers TV.
Welcome back to the show. We talked about this a little bit earlier on the show, and that is, sort of embracing the winter and getting active and why it's important to remain active. And for a lot of people, they find the winter time a difficult time to get out and enjoy things because they think perhaps they have to have a lot of equipment to do outdoor activities. That's not necessarily the case. And my next guest will inspire you to get out there and enjoy yourself. I'm joined by Leslie Peace, as she is a personal trainer at Leslie Peace Fitness. Welcome back, Leslie. Great to have you here.
Thank you so much.
We want to talk about staying active in winter, and I like to talk about sort of, you grew up, I guess, in an environment, right, where you were outside and enjoying the outdoors. Tell me a little bit about that and how it's remained with you all these years.
I think the one thing I'd probably go back on was we did a lot of stuff as a family to have fun. So you didn't think about getting out in the winter as being a chore. So going for a cross-country skiing, or even just playing in the snow, taking the boulders from the snow banks and making, cool snow forts and all that kind of stuff. And I would say, like, my parents, I was so lucky, instilled being active and having fun. But I'm finding now as an adult, if I do stuff with people more, like it's a planned activity, it's a lot less painful when it's cold.
Yeah, and you mentioned cross-country skiing. You and I were talking before the show in the green room, the fact that, how this has exploded with so many different opportunities to cross-country ski in the Ottawa-Gatineau region now, right?
Oh, we're so lucky. And I love cross-country skiing because it's a little bit better for cost. You do still need to get a pair of ski boots and skis, but you're not having to get a really expensive lift ticket every time. And you could even go to a local park. I mean, our trails around here are beautiful and amazing. I think they're some of the best in the world. But it's nice because if you want to do it as a family, and I know we're counting our pennies a lot more, it's something that's a little bit more sustainable for a pastime.
Yeah, and not only that, I mean, you can find things that are more affordable now too, right? You don't necessarily have to go to a retail store and buy brand new, right? There's used equipment out there. People are giving away equipment at times.
Yeah.
There's Facebook Marketplace, places like that, right? For people that think, well, I can't even afford the equipment. You may be surprised, right, what you can find.
Even for me, when I started getting into snowshoeing more during COVID with a couple of clients, I wanted some extra pairs of snowshoes, and my budget was probably limited. So I talked to a few neighbors, and they had snowshoes they weren't even using. They're like, I'm happy if you use these. So, if their kids came down for a couple days, I'd have to give them back. But it was a very affordable thing. In my own neighborhood, I found a few people had some lovely treasures in their basements.
Nice. I love. Actually, here's a funny, just quick personal story. We have a cottage, and we have 4 opportunities where if you need to bring something to the dump, there's 4 times per year. One year we brought something to the dump, and there was a perfectly good pair of snowshoes just sitting aside that I guess they were gonna, just throw away. We brought them home, and they worked perfectly. There's absolutely nothing wrong with them, right? So why snowshoeing? You mentioned during COVID. Was that kind of your introduction to snowshoeing?
So I was super lucky. During COVID, I had a boss who, for fun, decided one day for a lunch hour meeting that we had to go out snowshoeing. So we had to meet at her house, and we had someone show up in a pair of running shoes and jeans. Most of us had boots on, but they were even able, I wouldn't recommend snowshoeing in running shoes and jeans, but the trail was nice and smooth. So everybody of all different levels, whether you were an outdoor person or not. And the neat thing for me as a personal trainer, I have so many clients of different levels.
Right.
Some of them are really active. Some of them are completely new to it. Some of them hate winter. Some of them love winter. So what I loved about snowshoeing was I could have all the different levels of people come together. You didn't have to, if you had size 8.5 boots and I had 10, it didn't matter what size your feet were. It was a little bit easier. I mean, you can get a specific pair of snowshoes for your weight and height.
Okay.
But you don't have to. They're pretty flexible.
Well, you brought some along too.
Yes.
I mean, this is the modern snowshoe. And you and I was joking with you earlier. Like when I grew up snowshoeing, and I remember at elementary school they'd have those contests where you'd have to run and do a race in a snowshoe, and you'd literally. I think the teachers did it because they wanted to see the kids face plant. Because seriously, kids did all, and we had the best best of times, right?
Yeah, it was fun.
So this is the more modern, I guess. What it's lighter, easier to put on.
Yeah,
that kind of
super
thing?
easy. Those ones are very basic snowshoes. Like they've got a clip at the back right here.
Right.
You can pull this in and out. There's some more, like I'd say this is like a great entry level. You can get more expensive ones that have a metal clip, so that if you were going for like a 10K hike, they're going to stay on a lot better.
Right.
But,
and then a great grip, right, in the back as well.
And I mean, there's different types of snowshoes. So if I was going on a groom trail, I might use a different pair than I would in really, really deep snow.
Okay.
And then depending on your weight and height, you can play with a bit with the length of the snowshoe. So it just depends on how serious you're getting into it. But for most people, I find they just want to get out. They want to be active. You don't need top of the line equipment. And you could throw a pair. I should have brought some poles today. If you want to get a little bit of nice arms in.
Yeah, it helps with your balance too, right? For those that perhaps even just starting out. Very quickly, you have Zumba classes that you offer. Big demographic for us as seniors that watch the show. And you're specifically target seniors, right?
Yeah, so Tuesdays at 1 o'clock at the Manotick United Church, I teach a Zumba Gold class. It's super fun, low impact, and great for active seniors.
Excellent. Well, real pleasure having you back on the show, Leslie. Thank you so much. And I hope we've inspired some of you out there to get outside and get active during the winter. As long as you dress properly, you bring the don't forget to hydrate. Even though it's winter, you still have to continue to hydrate. We'll be back with more Daytime right after this.
Learn all about the creation of the National Capital Region on The History of Ottawa, according to Phil Jenkins, on Rogers TV.
Public transit, garbage pickup, parks and recreation programs, snow removal on your street. How can you stay informed about these and other important local services? Tune to City Council coverage on Rogers TV. See your community leaders at work on Rogers TV City Council coverage.
Hi, I'm Sam LaPrade. I'm hoping I inspire you to watch An Hour to Give. This week we're featuring the Association of Fundraising Professionals. Maybe you're looking for a career change. Check us out. I'm Sam LaPrade. Watch An Hour to Give.
You're watching an interesting local show on Rogers TV and you want to know more. That's when you head to rogerstv.com. Our website provides more information about our programs, our hosts, our schedule, and about how you too can get involved with Rogers TV. Visit us online at rogerstv.com.
Welcome back to the show. What I'll add to that piece by Leslie Peace talking about, getting outside and enjoying outdoor activities in the winter. I mentioned up top of the show, portion of the canal open, so that's incredibly exciting. Of course, had a really bad year last year, couldn't open it. So disappointing for so many of us, and of course for tourists, it's a big tourist attraction here in the city. So hats off to everybody that got that portion opened. I know they worked incredibly hard to do that. Let's talk about a couple of things that we chatted about on the show today. I want to start with Little Women. That is the production by the U Ottawa Theatre Club. It kicks off on January 25th. So they have 4 days. So 25th, 26th at 7 p.m. And then the 27th and 28th, you have shows at both 2 p.m. and 7 p.m. You can go to uottawatheatreclub.com to find out more information. To pick up a copy of Angela Champ's book, of course, it's available in all bookstores. It's The Squiggly Line Career. Her website is angelachamp.com. Big thanks to Paul and David on the show for Paul's Picks. You can go to paulspicks.ca. And Spice Girls, spicegirls.com, Spice with a Y, Girls with a Z, to find out all those fantastic recipes as well. We'll be back with more after.
Connect with us by visiting our website or email us at comments@rogerstv.com.
I'm Meg, and this is Fit Finley, and we're from Fit Over 50. Join me for a new season, which is full of awesome workouts designed for adults 50 plus. Improve your motivation, your strength, and your energy. Join me for a new season of Fit Over 50 exclusively on Rogers TV.
Join us Monday to Friday on Daytime Ottawa as we showcase some of the fabulous things that are happening in your city.